Hey, what's up, y'all? So today I want to talk to you about a prospect that recently got sent to me, referred to me by a former client, and essentially, this guy he wants to double his business. But I had recently been seeing some Hermosi videos, and I indicated to him that he may also have some other concerns he wants to look out for. And so, for example, uh, basically the idea is that bringing in more revenue isn't necessarily going to fix a profitability problem. So like Hermosi's his suggestion is you aim for 80% gross margin, because if you don't, you can have problems scaling, and you can have problems with your take home pay. So you for entrepreneurs who make a lot of money but still have an issue with what they take home, that's something to keep an eye on. And additionally, for scalability, his long-term gross profit to customer acquisition cost, he aims for at least three. And so, like, these are just sample numbers in here. These are not real. But I sent this info to the prospect just for him to keep his eye on these things as other potential issues to take a look at and be conscious of, because simply adding more leads to your pipeline isn't necessarily going to get you to your end goal. Um, if the gross margin is not high enough, right? Or if you're not making enough on the lifetime value of a customer, or your cost of your your acquisition cost is too high, right? So I pointed that out to him and sent him a copy of this template. If you want a copy, just send me a message. But then it was time for me to get into the actual proposal. So I asked him a few questions about where his business was. And so this is kind of where I ended up, was just saying, right now, he currently doesn't have a blog. I don't see any real signs of SEO, although I need to leave myself a note to check his built with. But he told me himself he doesn't really have a good handle on his marketing metrics, which is very common. Uh, Most business owners don't, they take what comes out of the box, right? They don't get into the details of their web analytics, but it can actually tell them a lot. So I think I had mentioned to him that essentially we can find, using Google Analytics, where your most or your where your highest number of high profit leads are coming from, right? So that's one area I can help him on. Basically, to make the most of what he already has and allocate his marketing resources efficiently. And from there, once we know what's working, right, we can then develop a lead generation strategy based on that knowledge, and the data that's already in his Google Analytics being tracked. And then we can test different methods against each other and compare them and see from there what should be his primary focus, right? And to me, that's the easiest way to double your revenue, is to double down on what's already working for you instead of trying to change everything without any kind of testing or history or data backing you. So um, I wanted to talk about how this happens and what I actually do for people, right, with this strategy. So it's essentially optimizing your website for lead gen, not maximizing traffic. That's most SEOs, their goal, it seems like most people, they simply think about, okay, how do we just double your traffic? And I try to be a little more nuanced, because all traffic is not created equal, right? And that's why in the beginning, I also pointed out to him that sales alone may not be his only problem as a business owner, right? He may have a specific revenue goal, but what about your profitability? What about your scalability? Are you built for that as a business to actually get where you want to be? And so, um, my thing is, let's start with some data. So, how that looks is, the first thing I want to do is get your conversion tracking set up properly in Google Analytics 4. And of course, using Google Tag Manager enables that and makes it easier for you, right? And so the conversion tracking is where you get actual leads and sales figures through your website with their sources, right? with the traffic sources, with the marketing channel that actually sent them to you. So that's where you set up your conversion tracking and you get your source medium report to help you with that. You also will figure out where your top pages are, right? Which pages are bringing you in the most leads and sales. His website's not e-commerce, so it's really like a lead-based website. Um, but if you were e-commerce, he does sell some things like courses on his site. You can then check out, implement and set up GA4 e-commerce, right? Um, which is going to require you some custom coding, similar to conversion tracking, but it can be done. And then you can get even more granular with UTM parameters, right? That'll help you track the details of your clicks. So he does have an active YouTube channel. I think he's had 80 videos he's posted in the last year. And so one thing I noticed was he didn't have his lead magnet, right? So let's get into the actual marketing funnel performance. But he didn't have his lead magnet above the fold on the homepage. So that's a major place he can make improvements. But the other thing is on his YouTube videos, he's not pushing a lead magnet. He does have a quiz, right? But one thing that's you can do when you're pushing a lead magnet in your YouTube channel is you can actually track those links with UTM parameters, and you can see in your Google Analytics reports how they're performing. Right, you'll know where the leads came from. If you can say uh, the lead on this particular page came from my YouTube channel, came from a particular video, came from the description section. It was this campaign, right? This topic we were covering, and we were targeting this keyword, right? You can do all those things with YouTube TM parameters to get everything broken down in detail, so you can know everything about the actual performance of that link that was being clicked. So yeah, you need to have your lead magnet above the fold on the homepage. That'll be very helpful because that's where most of your traffic's going to probably go. You need to be tracking your content, right? So, for example, you want to know once you have this conversion tracking set up and you know your main marketing channel through the source medium report, right? The other thing you want to do, is to know, okay, I'm getting say I'm getting most of my traffic through organic search on Google, which I believe is the case for him. He mentioned that he gets a lot of his leads because of his high, 5-star rating on Google Maps or Google Business. The other thing you want to know is which topics are going to which specific topics are bringing in those leads, right? So is it your service number 1 or product number 3, or topic A, B, C, whatever that is. You can do a content groups report once you have your conversion tracking set up, and you can see that once again, some content, some topics perform better than others, and those will be the keywords you want to dominate, right? I want to dominate those keywords on this channel. In fact, let me just highlight all this, right? You're going to want to dominate those keywords. Oops, that's not the highlight. Where's the background? Here we go. A particular keyword, right, in a particular channel. Did it again. And you're going to want to do it on particular pages, maybe, right? But again, it's not a one size fits all spray and pray approach. It's a very tailored, specific, data driven approach. I know this is going to work. If I could only double the traffic on specific pages for specific keywords, then I'm highly likely to convert them because I'm basing it on leads and sales, right? And not only on the number of leads and sales, but the value of leads and sales that I assign, based on my own internal data, or the price of these products and services. So that's the ninth thing, right? Is knowing what particular keywords or search terms or topics perform best. And then you're going to want to set up your funnel path, right? You want to check out the funnel path report. What that does is tells you, okay, not only are they converting on these pages for these keywords from these marketing channels, right? At these particular values. This is going to say how they got to the conversion, right? So from the landing page, right, where they first visit your website to the conversion point, whatever page that was or whatever, this is going to show you where the majority of your leads and sales are coming in, right? And the way they're getting there, the path they're taking. So this is very powerful because you could say, wow, not only do I need to have my lead magnet above the fold on the homepage where probably they're landing mostly, but you're going to know from the data. There's also a pathway that most people are naturally taking for some reason in high numbers, and I need to hit them with value all along that path, right? Bam, bam, bam. I needed to get every major. These are my highest converting website visitors, and I need to hit them with value along every point of that chain of that funnel. Okay. The other thing is the attribution report. So yes, you're gonna have source and mediums for every page, but for any given sale you get or lead you generate, the attribution report is actually going to tell you how much each marketing channel contributed to that, right? Because just because they came in from a certain source doesn't mean that the conversion is 100% due to that one source. They may come to your website from one source, leave, come back a few days later from a different source, leave. And this attribution report is going to give um, credit, right? It's going to give fair credit. That's the idea, based on data driven algorithms from Google and using AI and stuff, for you to know, okay, well, maybe organic is bringing them in, but your YouTube content also has a contribution, so you shouldn't stop doing that, right? So that's the idea there. The other thing is you want to integrate your CRM with Google Analytics, because Google Analytics can see when you get a lead, but it doesn't see when it actually closes, right? So someone comes into your website through Google Analytics, right? But if you're able to integrate with your CRM, you can send that data in theory back to Google Analytics and say, okay, well, or you can merge that data into a report somewhere, either in your CRM or whatever. And you can say, okay, well, this amount may have come in through Google, through, um, organic Google search, and I can see that through Google Analytics. But who actually ended up becoming a paying customer and closing? 2 weeks, 2 months, or whatever your sales cycle is down the line. That's the other thing, is it can also help you quantify how long your sales cycle is. So not just the success rates, conversion rates, but how long does it take someone to go from a lead to a paying customer? These are all super valuable information for you to have as a business owner, because now once you have your funnel, each phase and stage of your funnel broken down, you can say, okay, here's the conversion rate from top to bottom at each stage, and also here's about how long it takes to convert. Now you can do things like start to predict how long it's going to take for leads to close, how much they're going to cost, right? So all of these things become very valuable when we start talking about sales cycle length and cost per lead, right? And so this lets you make your business and your marketing efforts more predictable and scalable over the long term, because you have it broken down. You have your metrics broken down, right? By the unit. So another thing that can be very useful is to have your CRM automation set up. I've done this before with Salesforce. Reminders so that your staff, your salespeople don't let leads fall through the cracks and get forgotten about, or alerts that go out to your customers to remind them of offers or deals or things like warranties. I don't mean this particular client, his he doesn't have any kind of warranties or anything that I know of. It's not really, doesn't really fit his niche. But if you were like an equipment manufacturer, which I've had experiences with this, my last job role, they have yearly maintenance plans, and they need to remind people of that at scale, 90, 60, 30 days out. And so those emails are highly relevant, they're highly targeted, and they're highly profitable, right? Because you're talking thousands of extra dollars to the business on autopilot that no, they don't have to manage. They simply write the script, set it up, and forget about it. And the money just rolls in. Okay. So that was those are the top 12 key elements, or 13. These other things are kind of like additional. Obviously, you want to experiment with live chat on your website, because it's just another opportunity, another touch point to get contact with your customers, your visitors to your website, answer questions, and engage them before they leave or bounce off the site. And you can get them into your funnel, right? It's also a good place for support, good place to use any kind of documentation, help documentation, support documentation, suggest lead magnets. It's just an easy way for your salespeople to bridge a gap. SEO, obviously, for your website to start ranking for specific keywords. That's extra. Um, Usually it's a go-to. It's not fast, but it is fairly reliable if done right. And then there's ads. Now, everyone ads aren't for everyone. Not all business owners um, are willing to take the monetary risk in order to learn what works. So it just depends on the attitude of the business owner, whether they're willing to invest in themselves. My approach is, once you've done all this, you're gonna learn a whole lot about your traffic, your visitors. And so, based on this data you've gained and you've learned about what works, and when you're able to find out things like your sales cycle length and your cost per lead, if you have the space in your budget and you want to scale, ads make sense, right? If I can specifically target these type of people, and this business owner, he did tell me who he's looking for, right? If I know it works organically, okay, I may have a more colder audience from ads, and they may convert at a lower level, but I still have a fairly high chance of getting them the content that they want, offerings that they want, the lead magnets that are attractive to them. Because if they fit in at all with who I'm already serving, and I've learned everything I need to know from this data, I have a much higher chance of success with ads. And additionally, not just you know, Facebook, Google ads to cold audience, but remarketing ads. Meaning, if you've come, actually, I need to find this video, but I want to point out that Alex Hormozy mentioned that he did an analysis on his customers and found out that 78% of customers consumed at least two pieces of long form content. So you can set up something on your website that says, okay, if this guy's visited two of our blogs or whatever, right? And they've actually scrolled down and read them, say 50%. I want to send an I want to send that person an ad. I want to trigger an ad with my best discount or my best lead magnet, and get them into our funnel. And I will have known from all of my data how that funnel is going to perform, how long it would take someone to get through it and to buy, how much it would cost, um, what's the conversion rate, like what's their odds of converting, what's going to be the LTV from that customer, and what else would you need to know from that person? Yeah, all these things make your funnel and your outbound um, prospecting highly predictable, and that's what you want as an owner. You want to know, if I put in X amount of dollars, how many can I reasonably expect to get out? And that's really like the holy grail for business, and that's why I think ads in particular are highly slept on. But again, it does not. It's not something you can reasonably um, risk if you don't have that data, right? It does seem like a waste of money if you don't know what you're doing first. So that was just my outline for this proposal. Again, it's a general framework I've used before, and I've seen it work multiple times. And at least when it comes to ads, when you have data and you know your customer well, I think you want to think about how much the ads can make you, and not how much you're spending on the ads, right? If you can double your audience size or the amount of people you can reach with a fairly reasonable funnel behind it and a great offer, which is backed by data and testing, that can be very profitable. You could make multiples of what you spent. And honestly, ads that work well are probably the fastest way. SEO is probably still um, more steady and more predictable over the long run, but you're talking months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months before the algorithm adapts and you see more traffic. And that's why I'm also highly picky about what keywords I'm targeting. Right, I look into your data to make sure they're going to be keywords that generate leads, and not just traffic. So um, I hope that helps, guys. This is what I do for people. And once you have that cost per lead and all these metrics, you're able to test. The beautiful thing is when you get through all of this, you now have a experimentation framework, right? You now have a basis for comparing different methods. Okay, do you want to do ads? Do you want to do SEO? Do you want to do Facebook, Google, social, whatever it is? You can now compare. You have a basis for comparison to say, well, what's the conversion percent? What's the gross? What's the profit gonna be? How long's the sales? What's the difference between all these different methods? Right? We can compare them based on the cost, the volume of leads, the profitability, and the revenue. And once you know what each different marketing method looks like for your business, whether that's by platform or marketing channel or whatever, then you have the justification. You have the ability to compare them and say, well, I want to start with this first because it's the low hanging fruit. But once that the performance of it plateaus and we're not able to get any more out of it, well, then we can go to the next best thing and the next best thing and the next best thing, right? So you may say, I want to start with organic search marketing campaign with SEO and blog posts, right? Blog posts, search engine optimized blog posts. But, once we kind of maximize that within a year or so, say, then I'm going to have enough data and then I'm going to be comfortable targeting, you know, targeting my visitors with Google remarketing ads or something like that, right? You have a basis for um, prioritizing because you have numbers, you have data behind it. Okay, guys, so hope that helps. That's my overall framework and it's worked for me. You guys have any questions, concerns, let me know and we can continue this discussion or see you in the next video. Thanks. Take care.